Hi, welcome back to Andrea Fontana Beauty. If you're new here, I'm Andrea. I am a licensed makeup artist and esthetician, and I primarily focus in bridal makeup, but I do all sorts of different makeup and beauty things. On my YouTube channel, I share lots of beauty content, but also some secondhand living and food content as well. So if that sounds good to you, make sure that you subscribe. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Today's a really fun video. I'm sure you can tell by the title, but I purchased all new drugstore items. So these are all new to me. Some of them are like actually new products, like new on the market, I think. Actually, maybe not. Maybe they're all, I mean, you should be able to still buy them all. I bought them right before Christmas, so I've had them about a month and I haven't opened anything. We're going to test out all these products and I'm really excited. We'll see how it goes. I'll categorize them into products that I love and can't wait to use again, products that I kind of have to test out and see, and products that I know I don't like. Hopefully we've none in that category, but if you'd like to see the look I come up with and the brands that I use, I tried to use a wide variety, then keep watching. I have everything still in the packaging too, so I can show you exactly what it is. I know that the Putty products are very trendy right now, so I wanted to try out this Physicians Formula Putty Primer. It's the Butter Believe It Putty Primer, and there's just one shade, I think. This is what it looks like. I've tried the one from e.l.f. and I really do love that one. Looks pretty similar. It's a little bit thinner and more liquidy. I don't know how I feel about this. It's really thin. Does it have, I can't tell if it has a scent. Is that weird? Like, I feel like it does, but I also am very confused. Okay, I don't hate how thin this is. Let's just get it on everywhere. It's kind of hard to get out because you're basically, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a cleansing balm. That's like starts thick and then as you warm it up, it gets more emollient. But then it absorbs really fast and I'm not shiny. Okay. I don't hate that. I'm not a big fan of the smell. It's like I can smell it when it's on my face, but it's hard to smell it in the container. I don't know why. That's really weird. Okay, I like that. I think I like that. I'm curious to see how the foundation goes on over it. It felt really good. I feel like it was a really thin layer. I do feel like it made a difference. Next, we have the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation. I have the shade 120 Pearl, which is for neutral undertones. Like I said, it has a satin finish, which is my ideal situation. This is so hard to get off. How does this work? Oh, you just pull it off and it has a pump. Didn't realize that. Okay, so hopefully this is the right shade for me. I just put 2 pumps on the back of my hand. I'm gonna kind of like work it into my brush. Well, this looks like it's gonna be a little pale for me, but I think we can make it work. It has a lot more coverage than I thought it was going to. And I do feel like it's blending out easily. I'd say that it's light to medium coverage, but like you could definitely build it up. This one also has an interesting scent. I don't think I like it. I don't like when things are super scented. Why do they do this? Okay, I'm gonna go in and add a second layer. Just over where my redness is in my cheeks. I really like the finish of this. I do think I would like it more if I had a deeper shade. I always have such a hard time in the winter because I think I'm super pale, but I guess compared to other people, like their winter tone, I'm not as pale. I don't know. I always think I'm like the lightest or second to lightest shade, but I don't know. I guess that's a pretty good match. Maybe I am paler than I realized. Okay, so I just worked that in. You can see I have some blemishes and things down here and some scars, and it did a really good job of covering those. Blended out really nicely. I think just a guess based on the texture, I think this would blend out beautifully with a beauty blender. If that is something you like, I think that would be worth a shot. But so far, I think that looks really nice. And I didn't notice any pilling or anything weird with the primer underneath. So let's move on. Next, we have the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Concealer Corrector in the shade 210 Nude Beige. There we go. Reminds me of the NARS Creamy Concealer. A lot of people really seem to like this one. It feels like a much more wet formula. I love this doe foot applicator. It's a little thinner than the NARS Creamy Concealer, but it feels really good. See what the coverage situation is like. I do feel like because it is a little bit more hydrating, or it just feels a little more wet than the NARS one, I feel like it is one that you're gonna have to like let sit for a second if you really want coverage. I mean, it did a pretty good job over here. Let's see under the eyes. I definitely don't like it as much as the NARS. We'll have to see how it sets. But I do feel like it gave me the amount of coverage that I like. I don't like to be too opaque under my eyes. I like it to still kind of look like skin, and it definitely feels moisturizing. I personally don't have a ton of fine lines under my eyes, so it's always hard for me to comment on how I think that would go because I don't get a ton of creasing. But I do feel like it was, like, I really like the coverage, and I think that was a good color match for me. And I do feel like it's still covered down here. Maybe not that guy as much. But I think if you were to use it to spot conceal, I think if you put a little dab on and then you let it sit for maybe like 5 minutes and then go to blend it in, I think it would really do a nice job of covering without feeling, it doesn't feel heavy. Okay, so far we're doing pretty good. Next up we have the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder, and I have the shade 10 Fair Light. This is like a twist off situation. And let me get tweezers. So here's a tip. If you have a loose powder like this, they always come sealed, right? And if you peel off that entire thing, then all the powder will come out, and every time you open it, there'll be tons of powder in here, right? So let me show you a hack. I just have to get my tweezers. Okay, so here I have some tweezers. If you take your tweezers and you puncture, these might be too big. Let me get a smaller pair. I have my smaller ingrown. Can you see those? These are for ingrown hairs. Smaller, pokier. So if I poke, maybe like, ooh, they're perfectly spaced out so I can do 2 at a time. So let me show you. Can you see that? I have them poked in there. I'm gonna do half of the dots, a little less than half. There, you can see when I shine it, you can see which ones are poked and which ones are not. This way, when I hit some out, we just get a little bit of powder. You see that? I don't know how well it's gonna show. But we get a little powder. We don't get too much powder, because if you get too much, then you also have problems. I just tapped some of that into the cap, and I'm gonna set that. Sorry, I'm bringing my mirror really up close so I can really see what it's doing. I feel like that did a pretty good job. I need a little more. See, look, you get like literally the perfect amount of powder. Okay, I like that. I feel like it does. I mean, I've heard this is one of the like cult favorites that I've heard so much about and just never tried. So I was actually really excited to try this one because a lot of people swear by it. I think I could definitely buy this for myself instead of the Laura Mercier. We'll see how I like it as far as using it on clients. I don't think I would use it on clients yet. I have to like really test something out on myself through like all different skin types and everything before I'll make the jump and put it in my kit. So none of these things will be worthy of that yet. I didn't get an eye primer because I have way too many. So I just put my extra foundation and then I just set that with powder. I'm really happy with how that base is looking so far. I feel like it's good coverage. My redness is covered. I think it looks great with, I have textured skin. I have KP on my cheeks. So I always have little bumps here, and I feel like it looks great on the texture there. I really like how that concealer is covering and sitting under my eyes. So I feel really good about this so far. Next, we are going to use the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer in Forever Sunkissed. This is another one I'd heard such great things about. I just destroy packaging. Comment down below, which one are you? Are you the person who just like rips packaging open, or are you somebody who like neatly opens it? Because we can see which person I am. This is what it looks like. Nice big pan. I liked the shade of it. Not too warm. It's not shimmery. So I've got my angled bronzer brush. We're gonna dip in. Not a ton of kickback, which I personally like because I think it's easier to... Ooh, that's got a good amount of pigment. I was not expecting that. Okay. Something smells weird. It's not that. Was it the powder? Something on my face. I think it's the foundation maybe. Okay, I really like that. That is beautiful. Really easy to work with. I feel like it just warmed me up right away. If you're new to makeup, I think it has enough pigment to be built up, but if you're new to makeup or just don't feel very confident in your skills, I think it would be really easy to work with. We're just gonna, okay, I like that. Pretty. I don't know how much I buy into the whole primer infused bit, but hey, maybe that's why there's not a lot of kickback, because it's a little bit more creamy. Next, I'm really excited about this one. We know how much I love a good cream blush, and I have been hearing really good things about these blush bombs from Flower Beauty. I've actually never tried anything from Flower Beauty. I tried to get some things from I actually have 1, 2, 3 brands here that I've never tried anything from, which I felt was pretty exciting. So this is the blush bomb by Flower Beauty in Bitten. She's just gonna rip this open. Come here, little guy. I kind of hate when they do that, like make the package so huge. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It has this little clear tip that I'm guessing, yep, we're gonna see the product squeeze out of. And what I'm gonna do is put a little dot on the back of my hand. This is like a berryish tone, and then I'm gonna take my blush brush and I'm kind of like working it in a little bit. Terrifying. So I applied it with one side of my brush, and now I'm gonna flip it over. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, so I don't like how this is applying with my brush, so we're gonna go in with our fingers. And I just do this kind of like patting motion. And just kind of, I mean, here's the thing. We all know blush likes to come up super pigmented on this camera. I do feel like it's not lifting what's below it, so that's really good. But what I'm going to do is I used hardly any product and I didn't even go back in for more, and I feel like I have plenty of blush. I am going to take my foundation brush and just like gently go over that. See how that just like blended things a little bit better? Made it a little more subtle. Yeah, okay, I like that. That looks good. I'm also gonna go back in with this, my powder brush. Okay, I like that. That was a pretty color. It was very intimidating, but I think it was pretty easy to work with. I do feel like I liked it better with using my fingers, not a brush. So something to note. I would be interested in getting more colors of these because I do feel like that applied really nicely. It didn't lift my foundation underneath. It played well with my powder bronzer underneath, and yeah, I do like how it looks. Give me a nice bit of rosy warmth. That was cool. Okay, next, another brand that I've never tried before. This is Revolution, Makeup Revolution London. This is the Revolution Soph X highlighter palette. Wow. I mean, I've never tried Revolution, and I saw this highlighter palette and I was like, why not try something? Because I thought, if this is good, obviously all the links will be listed below, so I don't remember prices off the top of my head because it has been a month since I purchased all these products. But I mean, look at that variety. For the price, if these are good, I mean, I really hope they are. We are going to, I kind of want to swatch them first and then decide. We're going to swatch this pink one. Okay, they definitely feel like some of them are different formulas. For the most part, here's the thing that's like really confusing. They're not crazy intense and scary highlighters. Like, they're not disco ball. So I think for every day, these are actually gonna be pretty nice. I like a highlighter that's a little more glowy, I don't like it to be chunky. These are definitely finely milled. They're not as pigmented as I was thinking they were going to be, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for a highlighter because we don't want it to be like very obvious. We don't want them to be hard to blend out, right? So sometimes when they're lightly pigmented, not that big of a deal. I will say when you swatch them with your finger, it feels like they're gonna be really, like there's gonna be a lot of kickback and they're gonna be really dry and chalky feeling. But then when you look at the swatches, like do you see on my fingers how smooth? And when you like apply it, it feels creamy. So it's kind of weird. Like you think it's gonna be super dry and not go on easily, but then it does. So now the question is, which one do I wanna use? I think we're going to use a mixture of these two. Just a nice champagne. I've got my Pro Glow brush and I just did like a flat little swipe in each color. And okay. You see that? That's really pretty. I really like that. I don't know why I'm so surprised. Sometimes I'm just taking a powder brush and kind of going over it to help blend it. But like, I like the glow that it gave. All right, we got a new favorite palette here. I really like that. I don't know, I think I'm surprised because Revolution, I feel like they get a lot of hate sometimes for their eyeshadow palettes. Just them being really, like the quality is never consistent and they release a ton of them and they're really tacky sometimes and I don't know. They don't get the biggest praise. So that's why I haven't tried them, but like I'm obsessed with how this looks. So I'm excited to keep playing with this. Again, I will save all those for the end. But I really like how the skin turned out. It looks great so far. Okay, I'm really excited about this palette. When I decided I was gonna do a drugstore palette, I wanted to do one that I hadn't tried. This is a brand I haven't tried, so I haven't tried their eyeshadow formula, but I've heard phenomenal things about this brand. And so I was very excited to pick this one up. This is the Ellie Girl VIP Desert Dream eyeshadow palette. Sorry, it's kind of reflective and hard to show. Why can't I get this off? Oh, it's stuck down. That was very confusing. Okay, see, I hate when they do this. I hate when you put shade names on this flimsy thing because like, I'm gonna throw that away and then I'm never gonna know the shade names again. I mean, whatever, that's fine. Look at this palette. I love yellows, I love golds. I've been really feeling the pinks recently, berries. This is like a really great wintry, I know it might seem summer or springy to you, but like for me, this brings me warmth and excitement in the winter when it's really freaking cold out. The pans are really nice and big. I'm really excited. There's a good, I like a nice light to dark range. I like there's a dark brown so we can really deepen things up if we want to. I think this would be a phenomenal everyday palette and I'm just hoping that the formula is what I want it to be. There's 16 shades, good mix of matte and shimmers. It looks like there's maybe 3 pressed glitters, 4. We'll kind of have to see once we play with it, but let's do it. I think I want to go in with those yellows, not gonna lie. They feel like they were made for me. We're gonna start by taking, I'm holding this upside down so that the mirror doesn't blind you. We're gonna start by taking this matte peachy shade. And I'm actually gonna use the mirror that's right in here, so it's very convenient. And we're gonna buff that all over the lid. That went on very easily. I like that. Not too chalky. There's a little bit of kickback, but you kind of expect that with cheaper shadows. Next, I'm gonna go in with this peachier matte shade that's right above that. And we're gonna put a little bit of that through my crease. Again, on the same fluffy brush. Okay. That blended really easily. You definitely want to tap your brushes with these shadows because I can see the kickback coming off of them. Now I want to take this mustard yellow shade and we're gonna really put that all through the crease. I'm not sure if that got cut off, but I was putting the mustard yellow in my crease. See that? Ugh, I am absolutely obsessed. Wow. Okay, that just blended so easily. So mustardy. I love it so much. Next, I think we're gonna take, I kind of want to take this rose gold. I was gonna do the yellow gold, but now I kind of want to do, so I was gonna do this yellow gold that kind of goes similar in here, but now I kind of want to do this one and just like see what happens. So you know what? That's what we're gonna do on my ring finger. Ooh. It's like a flaky, beautiful metallic. We're gonna put that all across the lid. You don't need a lot. I think it's definitely a shade that will not apply well with the brush unless it's wet. It's so smooth going on. Do you see minimal fallout? That went on so well and I really like how it looks. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in with the brush that had the mustard yellow on it and just blend through my crease so that it softens that edge there. Okay, I really love this look. I'm obsessed with this palette. I should have known. I know myself better than this. I don't know. When people really, I'm so hesitant to fall in love with things that everyone raves about. I usually end up falling in love with them too, but I just didn't think I was gonna like this palette. I don't know if it's because of the price. I don't know. What are we gonna do now? I think I'm gonna I wanna break pop that mustard a little bit more, so I'm actually gonna go back in with that yellow, the matte yellow, and just do another quick coating through the crease. I'm also gonna take this peachy right here. It's almost like a terracotta shade, and I'm gonna take that on a little pencil brush and just buff that under the eye. You see that? Yeah, I feel like a sunset right now. A wearable sunset, and I am not mad about it. Ugh. Do we see that? I think it's safe to confirm that I like that palette. The last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this is the shimmer shade we use for the lid, but I'm gonna take this one that's like a really, really light yellow shimmer shade. And I'm gonna take my ring finger again and take the slightest bit of this and just use that as an inner corner highlight. Yeah. It's not as chunky and metallic, it's a little more smooth. So it's just like a nice little bright yellow pop. Okay, let's see. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades. 6 out of 16. You obviously don't have to use that many to make a look. When I'm testing out a palette, I like to try to use a lot of shadows, and really happy with how that turned out. So I will definitely be keeping my eye on Ellie Girl eyeshadows in the future. I just have like an empty powder brush under the eyes, making sure none of that glitter fell out from the palette. I didn't buy a brow product, so I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're just gonna skip my brows. I don't know how I forgot to buy a brow product. Maybe it's because I have too many that I'm working through and I didn't want to open a new one, but I do have the Maybelline Sky High Lash Sensational Mascara. It's a rubber bristled brush with like, it's tapered, so it's a little bit, actually, you know what? One side is flat and one side is tapered, like angled. We'll see how I like this. I usually prefer a traditional, like fiber bristled mascara, but let me curl my lashes. It feels really flimsy. Oh. How does it coat so easily? Oh my God. Wow. Okay, I actually think this is I really like how this is applying. I don't know how much you can tell. Let me look up. But a lot of product goes on, which is what I want, but I don't want that if the wand is really hard to like work that product through the lashes. This does such a good job of combing, like the wand actually does a good job of like taking away excess product so that you get a really beautiful, you don't get clumps. Like, how do I want to wear this? You can apply the mascara really easily. You get a good amount of product on, but then it doesn't get clumpy. So you can still comb through your lashes really well. I really did not think, this wand feels very flimsy, so I just really did not think that it was going to be very good at combing through my lashes, but that's one coat. Okay, let's do the other side. I mean, I'm always really hesitant when I talk about mascaras to say like, oh, this is the best one ever, or like, you have to try this one, this is my holy grail. Because mascara is so personal. It all depends on your lashes, on what look you like, on how you like it to feel as you're applying. I truly think it's impossible to create a mascara that everyone will like, which is fine because, I mean, maybe that's why we keep trying them for the rest of our lives. So let's go into the second coat and see what happens. Sometimes this is where a mascara loses me because things get too clumpy and weird. I'm just gonna concentrate it more on the ends this time to lengthen. It's clumping a little bit, but honestly not that bad. Not as bad as I, again, would have thought that it would. Okay, I like that mascara so far. We'll see if it flakes I'll probably put in the description bar how it wore throughout the day. All right, we're on to our last product. I didn't get a setting spray for the simple fact that I was trying so many products. I thought that adding a setting spray would potentially ruin my thoughts on the concealer and the foundation. Like I wanted to see how all those things wore without a setting spray, so that's why I didn't do it. But we do have a lip product. I got the Neutrogena. In one of my question boxes on Instagram when I asked what drugstore products you wanted to see, somebody said Neutrogena, like just as a brand. So I picked up this Neutrogena Moisture Smooth Color Stick in the shade 120 Berry Brown. So let's do a quick swatch. It's just like a sheer lip. It smells kind of, how do I describe it? It smells clean. It smells good. I just don't quite know. What I think it smells like. This is perfect. I love this. I think it's really beautiful. It's the perfect amount of coverage, or it's the perfect amount of tint, I think. A really good everyday nude. I guess it's not really a nude. It's like a berry, a little bit darker than my lip tone. It's not that much darker than my lips. I feel like it's coming off more pigmented on the camera, but I really like how that looks. So this is our finished 100% drugstore makeup look. I love it. Let me do my categories. Okay, so here's the good news. There's nothing that I didn't like and I don't ever want to put on my face again. So that's awesome. I was hoping that's how it was gonna go, but you never know with drugstore makeup. So next category is makeup that I liked the first application, but I think I really need to test it out more to really get a feel for if I can say that I truly do like it. And those items are gonna be the foundation, because again, I have to see how it interacts with my skin. Does it break down over the course of the day, or is it gonna stay looking this wonderful? So we'll see. I'll report back later for these things. The Physicians Formula Butter Believe It primer. This one I kind of want to test out with some different foundations and stuff to see if I still like it, but it definitely has potential to make it into a like. The Fit Me powder, again, really liked how this applied, but we just have to see how it looks in a couple hours to see if I really can say that I really do like it. And then lastly, the mascara, because we need to see if it flakes, if it holds, if I feel like it faded and it's getting everywhere. Again, these are things that only time will tell. But let's go into my love it category. I think it's very obvious that I love the eyeshadow palette. Loved it. I think this was great. I'm really excited to create more looks with it. It was very easy to work with. It blended beautifully and I loved the range of colors. I thought it was a really good neutral drugstore option. The Sofx palette, again, I love all the color options. I thought that for a highlighter palette that you don't want to necessarily be intensely crazy shimmery and pigmented, I think it was a really great option. If you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of highlighters in your collection, you might really enjoy that. The e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer in Forever Sunkissed. I loved how this applied. I thought it was a beautiful bronzer, perfect shade for my skin tone, really great warmth. The Blush Bomb, again, really easy to work with, didn't move around my makeup, and I really like. I will definitely pick up more shades of this. And then also the Neutrogena Moisture Smooth Color Stick. It's super comfortable on my lips. I love it. I think it's definitely going to be a contender to live in my purse as like, I just need a quick something that's going to go with anything. So that's my roundup. Have you tried any of these products? Are there any other drugstore products that you want me to try? I could do a whole nother round of this. It was super fun. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to testing these products out more. I'm happy that all of them were likes and loves and no complete dislikes. I think that's really awesome. So this is the final look. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel before you leave, like the video, and share it with somebody that you think would also enjoy it. I really appreciate it because that really helps me. I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you next time. Bye.